Guess who no longer works at home? Got pulled into a meeting today with my boss, and was informed that I'll be required to come back to site permanently even though I was hired as a work-from-home agent. She asked if I had any problems with that, so I told her I don't have a car, and I live 30 miles away. Her response was to say, the company is not required to take into account your transportation needs. Then she just hung up. I don't know what I'm going to do. Edit. Thank you all so much for the advice and kind words. I didn't expect nearly this many replies. Trying to get back to everyone, so apologies if I miss you less than 3. Here's the thing. They have not formally fired you and are currently hoping that you will no call no show at the in-office position so they can say you quit and avoid any fault. Write an email politely saying, thank you, but as I was hired for a remote position and see no reason I can't continue to fully fulfill my role and duties from home. Then reject any and all calls. Email communication only so there is a record of it. Or if you're in a one-party consent state, you can just record the conversation. Force them to admit on record they are firing you or making your position one you cannot work for purely internal reasons. This will at least secure your access to benefits if, when they do actually fire you. You want to make sure you have the paperwork where it says work from home, remote. Then call HR and ask them to confirm that the role you were hired for in paperwork says remote. Then ask them to confirm in writing they are changing the conditions of employment and ask for additional compensation in line with this change. Ask why you were verbally attacked, harassed, confronted when your role is clearly remote. Even in right to work states, the HR employer loses wiggle room when they change your conditions of employment. Even more so when no period of transition is given. If nothing else, it gives you ammo for unemployment fight if needed. What kind of job? Companies. We are a big happy family here. Also companies. Oh, you don't have a car? Sounds like a you problem. That qualifies you for unemployment while you find a new job. Quiet firing. We're just going to change the terms of your employment so we can get you to quit. Then she just hung up. Reading that pisses me off so much. I'm sorry you're going through this. Rather than quit, just write your boss an email along the lines of, thank you for the opportunity to work in the office. However, given that I can fulfill my role remotely, I have chosen to continue working remotely as per the initial contract. No leeway. It is simply a matter of fact on what you are going to do. They will either accept it or fire you. In either case, it's best to start looking elsewhere. You now have experience in that role, and other employers will support remote work. HR chiming in here. Was the work location mentioned in your offer letter or any contracts when you were hired? Asking because if it's in the employment paperwork, you might be able to push back. We had a guy whose manager told him he had to start coming to the office even though he was hired as remote. We did some digging and confirmed that the job posting the employee applied for and accepted has remote as the work location. Maybe it was an honest mistake. Maybe it was an attempt to bait and switch, to get a warm body in the role by promising WFH. Regardless, we told the manager that he had to honor the employment paperwork, which stated that the position was remote. Don't turn up. Log in as usual and then say you were hired as work from home, and if the company requires you in a set place they are to provide transportation to and from until they either cave or sack you. Go back and dig up the advert, your initial offer, or whatever thing they gave you that stated WFH. Inform them that you will keep honoring the offer as it was stated, and keep logging in. They have to fire you for a reason, or no reason. but they have to put it in writing. You were hired remote, but they want you to come back. If they actually used that verbiage, then ask them to repeat it again slowly until they understand the problem. Read your contract carefully to see what specific language they used in their offer. Does it specify work from home? Does it mention notification protocols or a payment adjustment for any change in that status? Get them to confirm in writing that even though you accepted a role as a work-from-home agent, the job now requires commuting to the office. Reiterate in writing that you don't have a vehicle and accepted the role in the understanding that it was WFH. Reiterate that since you have no method of transportation that will allow you to comply with this new requirement, you will continue to work from home under the terms of your original understanding, contract, agreement until they dismiss you for your inability to change the terms of your contract in the way they desire. Get fired. In writing. Get unemployment. Hopefully. Note: I'm not a lawyer, but I am a labor organizer and have a bit of training. The bit about getting everything they tell you in writing is critical protection in any contract dispute between a worker and an employer. While you are figuring things out, may I suggest checking out Rat Race Rebellion? They list WFH jobs. All vetted. Wouldn't hurt to have a backup plan just in case. Let them fire you and collect unemployment. You should have no problem mentioning this in your next interview. The conditions simply no longer worked. Sounds like they're trying to get you to quit so they don't have to pay unemployment. Use caution. A lot of advice here isn't going to help you very much. There's a lot of uninformed good-intentioned advice givers that type what they wish, not what can happen. Yeah, conservatively that would lose you around 10 days. As in 24-hour days. A year to your commute. 30 miles each way equals 1 hour, workday round trip minimum 49 weeks by 5 days equals 245 workdays. 3 weeks off per year. 245 hours equals 10 days of life. Or the equivalent of 30.6 workdays. 8 hours per year. So a minimum of 30.6 workdays of pay plus the cost of fuel and vehicle maintenance. Without a pay increase, you are better off looking for a new job. My employer knows that I work best from home and that my employment is contingent on me going into the office entirely of my own volition. The minute they try to change that, they lose their best employee immediately and forever. Being hired in as remote, and then reneging on that promise is called a promissory estoppel. Essentially they are bait and switching you. You have literally a single option advocating for your rights. Tell your employer that you took the job with the knowledge, and their advertising of the position, that this job was remote. Them reneging on that promise will be considered constructive dismissal, as the qualifications and description of the position falls substantially outside the realm of what you were hired in as. They have one of the following options. 1. They continue to allow you to work remotely as you were hired in as and promised to. This is only if you are willing to do this. They pay for you to rent a car to fulfill the new obligations. 3. They provide a fair severance paycheck. If they are firing you after 23 years, I'd demand 6 months severance. Absolutely no less. You will need it since this was done in a surprise fashion. 4. They put into writing that they will not contest any attempts at unemployment, release you from employment obligations immediately, and also provide the difference between normal wage and unemployment benefits. This should be your last option if you get your health insurance through these assholes. Insurance lapses at the end of the month when employment stops. Cobra is hundreds of dollars up to $1,000 per month. If they're not morons, they'll let you continue WFH. If not, demand the other items and get hands clapping at hands clapping, all hands clapping in hands clapping, writing hands clapping. 1. Start looking for a new job immediately. 2. Don't go back. When asked when you'll be coming to the office, just say that you need additional time to make the proper accommodations. 3. Get in writing that you were hired for a remote position and then demand. Don't ask additional compensation for the change to your employment agreement. 4. Never go back to the office. Drag it out until you find a new job, then quit on the spot without a notice. Continue working from home until you find a new job or are fired. Then collect unemployment in the meantime.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.